y'all. Welcome to the Honest to Goodness podcast,
where we give you our honest opinions
on good entertainment. I'm Morgan.
I'm Kerri.
I'm Nicole.
And without further ado,
here's today's episode.
We hope you enjoy.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Honest to Goodness podcast, where we give you our honest opinions on good entertainment. We are back, and all three of us this time. Not gonna lie, it's a bit of a struggle. Morgan's been under the weather all day. I'm running a bit of a fever right now. So we're gonna make it through this somehow or another.
Yeah.
But we're super excited to be back and to all be back together again. But before we get started into the episode, before we came on, I was scrolling my Facebook memories, and it popped up a quote from one of my books, actually, which the first book, which was written with Cleopatra Thomas. I think she goes by Cleopatra Margot now as a writer.
Yeah.
But it's a fellow Hardy, and we wrote this back in 2017, it shows. But the quote was, "They sat in silence for several moments, each mulling over what the other had said. The only sounds were the rain and thunder outside and the fire crackling before them. When an especially loud clap of thunder sounded, Judith jumped and looked up at the window. She eased herself from the chair and stood, watching out. 'I do believe you,' Judith whispered. Her voice was almost drowned out by the storm in the background, but Henry heard her. It wouldn't have mattered how softly she spoke, he still would have heard her." So that was the quote that popped up today, and that, for anybody that does not know about that, I'm so sorry, my voice is like leaving me. But for anybody that doesn't know about the books that I have written, it started off as kind of like a fan fiction in a way, but not based off the Wind Calls the Heart characters, but it's its own Mountie teacher story. So just wanted to share that real quick. But y'all, this episode, to the M to the G, to quote Chris McNally.
I have no words. I'm still speechless.
I agree with Teresa, the Hardy Observer. I wholeheartedly agree with Teresa that it is like one of the best episodes we have seen since season 5.
Mm-hmm. I mean, season 6 and 7 had some good episodes.
Yeah. But like the romance and like the romance has just been so, like, I love how soft it is and how things are heating up, but we're
getting that power team back. We're getting the power team back of the Mountie and the teacher working together. That's what I love.
I know. That's what I loved the most out of this whole episode, was the fact of them working together, but it being like, I would have liked a little bit more scenes of them actually coming up with a plan, but at the end of the day, like them standing side by side in front of him, like, you know, like a brick wall, like, you're not going to touch us. I loved that.
I have no words.
I will say, Jeremy actually watched this episode with me today.
Oh, yay.
He had the day off. He had to go to a funeral, but so he had the day off work. But this morning he watched the episode with me, and he was kind of like, "You go, man," you know, like applauding Nathan when Nathan jumped up to go like lay Higgins out, man. Like, he was like, "Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do right there. Protect your girl."
Yeah.
But then it was like,
it's frozen.
Oh dear. It was.
And she is,
you guys are actually, y'all are frozen on my end.
And you have
we just had storms blow through. They're actually on their way to Texas. I'm pretty sure our friend Amy is about to get hit with a bunch of rain and stuff, so be praying for her. But it just, I mean, several trees are down and everything's like that. So there might be some technical difficulties on my end, but hey, what's new?
I don't know if it's going to show up on the recording, but Morgan, you have little blue circles around your eyes.
That is because I'm actually wearing my glasses for once, and my glasses have blue light lenses.
Okay.
Yeah, so that way whenever I'm doing the podcast or I'm on my phone doing stuff, they don't kill my eyes.
That makes sense. I just didn't know.
Oh, no, you're fine. I told Kerri whenever I got on, I'm like, I'm probably going to have to wear my glasses, and they're going to show up a blue light. So... Yeah.
But the one other funny thing, because Jeremy has not seen any of the recent episodes, all he has seen has been from season 1. I only like the first couple of episodes of that. So we got towards the end of this episode and he just looked at me and went, so are they actually ever going to get together? Or I was like, well,
They kind
We
of
hope
are.
so.
season of them being together. So like they're working their way to it. But
Yeah.
I had to say before we like really start from the beginning of the episode, that was my favorite part, was like him jumping up like that. It sent me back to how he was with Allie's dad, how we got to see that like very protective mode of being like, I'm fixing to lay this dude out. And the fact that he did it for Anna, like it really like he was listening to Elizabeth and everything, but a lot of what happened to Elizabeth was in the past. But now he like, I guess him hearing that he was doing it again, and he was doing it to someone that is much like Allie's age, around Allie's age, like it just, I guarantee you that sent like a fire in him, and he just like popped up, like he was so ready to just lay Higgins out.
I'm
and
sure
like that was such a dad / Mountie move. I loved that.
I'm sure we'll chat about it more when we get to Nathan and Elizabeth, but yes, I agree.
Okay, now before we get into this, Morgan, you haven't been able to give your opinion yet on last episode. So do you want to do that real quick, and then we can move into episode 6?
Yeah, if I could actually remember most of the episode, because like my brain, like being sick today, has like knocked me out. I literally slept most of the day. So it was definitely one of my favorites for sure, obviously for specific reasons. I think one of my favorite scenes was definitely the scene of Nathan and Lucas in the saloon. I think that was so needed, like so needed, because I love that he didn't have, because it needed to come from Lucas that things were officially over. Not that he didn't trust Elizabeth, or that he didn't, like, if Elizabeth was the first one to tell him like, hey, it's over. I'm not saying he wouldn't have believed her. So our other mascot, just so
cute.
I think that it was very much needed, and I looked at Lucas. You could tell that Lucas could tell that Nathan needed that reassurance, like, hey, I'm not blind, because like you saw the look like that they shared, like he saw the look that Elizabeth and Nathan shared during the council meeting with all of them and him. So he's not stupid. Lucas could see that something was happening between the two of them, and it shouldn't be that shocking to him either, because it's like, also, he's not stupid to believe that there wasn't something that was going on between Nathan before they got together. So I think it was really needed that Lucas was the one that kind of like gave him that nudge, like, hey, subtly, not subtly, telling you it's over between me and Elizabeth, so you know, don't tuck your tail and run like I did. Like, I loved that. And of course, I love that he did get the courage to just flat out ask her, like, what are we? Like, that took some boldness from Nathan to ask them. So that was actually kind of shocked. Like, if they had not showed that as like a preview, part of the preview, and we would have just seen that like as a surprise in the episode, I'm not gonna lie, my mouth probably would have hit the floor, because it kind of did whenever it was part of the preview. And so, but of course, get interrupted for like the 50,000th time.
I didn't expect it to be Henry, though.
Henry interrupted
me. Henry. I wasn't expecting it to be Henry, but I was expecting an interruption, because I was like, you don't ask that question and get an immediate response. And we crossed the heart.
No.
The lip
I think we're pretty good at being able to tell whether or not we're going to get interrupted in moments. So I love that. But no, I love that that we did get an answer though at the end of the episode, because I'm honest, I was wondering if we were going to get an answer at all, like maybe the next episode, but I wasn't expecting to get an answer within the same episode, because you know how they like to like really pull things and stretch as much as they can out with things. So
well, I figured we would get an answer, because it said in the synopsis they cleared up a misunderstanding. So
I like how they did the misunderstanding. I like how they cleared it up. I'm glad that they used Lucas. I thought that was a very like well written way of doing it. So yeah, and I like that Lucas and Nathan can still be friends with each other and still kind of have that camaraderie that we were seeing in the last season. So I'm glad that that's not. Precious is currently attacking Kerri right now. If you're watching, or if you're listening to us over Spotify or just audio, just know right now that Kerri is being completely viciously attacked by her Maltese right now. But
you're wanting to give your opinion too? I just not know did, but nobody else is home. She's in by herself all day. So
she's ready to play, Mama.
okay, I know, right? Okay, I
Oh
will
goodness.
mute myself and let you talk. While
Okay.
my dog text me.
You're not bothering me. I can't really even hear you, but that could be because my audio is not really that great.
Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to think of some other moments that I loved. Oh man. I love seeing Lucas in the governor role. I think more and more as time goes by, especially with this episode, the more and more he gets comfortable in that governor spot. I love that I feel like this is really the Lucas that he's always should have been. So it's been great to see him. Yeah, I think that this is how Lucas always should have been. I could never see him being mayor, but I definitely saw him being something bigger, like governor. So yeah, it's been great seeing him fulfill this role and being able to really stand his ground, even against people that you usually, most governors, especially new to that part of government, usually probably cowered down to. So that's really great. We got to see that in the last episode and this episode, so that's been really great. I love how we're getting to see again, like everything going on with Joseph and Jacob and the kids and everything. I thought that was really great. How they're kind of stretching that out, so it's not, we're getting bits and pieces of the story before we get introduced to Jacob and get to see and hear from his side. Like, I'm really wondering what the misunderstanding between those two are. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe he had feelings for Minnie and he felt like Joseph stole Minnie from him.
Ooh, hadn't thought of that. That's good.
Yeah, like I think it was that day that me and Nicole did the live. Someone actually commented that, but I'd already had the thought before that person commented, and so I thought that was really interesting, an interesting thought about how to go with that. But it could be something else. That's just that was like the first thought that came into my head, at least.
Yeah.
I think love that Allie got protective of Nathan. It was like, just, be careful. Like, I just don't want you to get hurt like last time. Because, like, I mean, understandably so. I mean, she's a teenager, so she's understanding. Like, she's not like little Jack, who is oblivious to certain things like that. She knows about emotions. She knows about love. She knows about having feelings for someone and having your heart broken. So hearing her say, like, I just want you to be careful. I don't want you to get hurt like last time. So I feel like that was very like real. I feel like if they did have her having these kind of like, can you please like be careful? Like, can you please like, not get hurt again? Because I don't know if I can handle seeing you hurt again. I feel like it wouldn't have been as real. Yeah. But I am liking, like, towards the end of the episode, she's sitting down the steps and she's talking to him about it. And then she sees Elizabeth woke up and she's like, oh, okay, I'm going to get out of here.
I'm going to do homework.
Like, I got a homework, and, like, leaves. And Nathan's just like, what?
Okay.
Like, you're willingly wanting to go do your homework right now?
Yeah. I think we should end episode 5 with Nathan channeling Pa Ingalls.
Yeah. I love that. I like the outfit. I do think that he looks better in blue. I will say that. But I do think that he complimented his skin tone and his hair. But the blue obviously pops his blue eyes out. So I'm like,
yeah. Nicole, I'm sure you saw that I used that edit that you sent me as the thumbnail for those.
That's great. Yeah.
I love that we weren't the only ones I'm glad that we weren't the only ones that saw, like, Kerri wasn't the only one that saw the comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think that's all I can remember right now. Like, the big points is what I mean. And like, did it happen in this episode that Leah officially became like co-mayor and all that?
Yes.
Okay, that story, like how all that happened was so good. Yeah. That was so good. Oh, I remember now one of my favorite moments, and it's mainly because I'm a behind the scenes nerd, and I think I've talked to you about this, Kerri. the way that they did Lucas's flashback was so good.
Oh yeah.
Like the camera angle, the messiness of it was so good. Like I loved it. I literally went back and rewatched that part of it like twice because I was just like, of course, trying to like see if I could see anything in there that could give us like a clue, obviously, but also because like the cinematicness of it was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Cinematography.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can never get that word out.
I'm
but
surprised I did, to be honest.
But yeah, I thought that was I wasn't expecting it. You know what I mean? Like I was expecting it to be more of like an actual scene of a like maybe or just like literally like a cut scene of it being like a more of a flash. But seeing that the way they did it was just so perfect.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
I think that's it though. I think that, and of course, like her saying "friends don't look at friends this way." I think that was so good. The perfect response of being able to allow that to kind of drag out.
Yeah.
And everything, and not just be completely just full on. I like that they're kind of like easing into it and not being like full jump, because I feel like that's just not Elizabeth and Nathan. I do think that things will speed up a little bit more because they already had just in this episode. But yeah, I like that they're keeping things as subtle as can be without being too snail paced.
Agreed. Yeah. So are we ready to go into episode 6?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, y'all! This episode, I said this I said this at the beginning of it, but I absolutely loved the fact that we were getting the teacher Mountie duo.
Yeah,
dynamic duo. I absolutely loved seeing that. The fact that Elizabeth basically agreed to a date with Nathan already. You know, she was like, well, you know, it depends on how this meeting goes, but I could come by the jail. And then you know, even when she like brushed him off later, though, that she was like, you know, we can make it another time. Like she made a point to let him know, hey, I'm turning you down. You know, but the fact that she was trying to lie to him about what was going on, girlfriend,
he knows her.
This guy,
but I think,
that was a hilarious thing. I literally, when that happened, I literally went, girl, he knows you inside and out. Jeremy just went, I was like, figuratively speaking. Okay.
Yeah. I have a thought.
Go for it.
Okay. So, you know how the date didn't happen. I think they're doing this intentionally.
Yeah.
And I think, I really do think I'm like, I mean, I already have felt like this before that they're getting married, but I feel like they're intentionally not having them date and they're just going to have them jump straight into marriage, and it's going to be marriage, courting, and of course,
I mean, it's a possibility. I would just think
it's a possibility. I mean, anything is possible with this show. The way they've been doing things is completely like, you know, different than what they've done before. So I mean, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
I loved Mike and May in this. Honestly, was I the only one that thought he was about to propose to her?
I thought so.
I did.
I didn't. I could see that I think he wanted, I think that me personally, I think he was really enjoying May taking control and May coming out of her shell and showing a part of herself that she has not shown anyone, really.
The fact that he brought up the chopsticks, dude. Like,
I know, right?
Higgins is the sweetest guy in Hope Valley. Let's just say that. He is literally the sweetest guy.
Yeah, he was really sweet.
Yeah. I will say this is kind of a comment towards what you said on the last point about how her lying to him and everything, and how like, oh come on, like you please, like, you know, he knows that you're lying to him. I think she knows how protective he is and how he would, like, for instance, we saw how he literally just like jumped up and was ready to go knock Higgins out after actually finally sitting down with him and telling him everything. So it's like she probably knew that Nathan would do that. Yeah. That Nathan would, you know, do something on that part, and probably would not even allow her to know. He would try and do something sneakily behind her back, because like Jack did that. So I mean, she's probably so used to, you know, and I'm sure Lucas probably would have done the same thing. Like she understands, like, hey, like they're protective by nature, that he's gonna do something to stand up for me. But I want it to be like, I don't want it to be like that. I don't want him to, like, of course, harm his job or anything like that. Like, this is my fight. And so I'm glad that Nathan actually did, to an extent, step back and allow her to take the reins and do it her way, instead of just, like, you know, he did have that moment of like wanting to go knock Higgins out, but he like stopped when she was like, stop, you know, and listened and everything. So I really loved that.
Yeah.
But no, I loved that we were able to get to see more of Mike and May, and of course get to see more of like her heritage, which if anyone didn't see it on Instagram, Amanda Wong actually did the recipe for the dish that was put for the show. So I thought that was really cool that we actually got to see her do it as well, and actually get to see the being made. So that was really cool. And we got to see like her share the dish with her mom and her grandma, and they were actually really approving of it. So I thought that was kind of sweet, and kind of makes you think like, oh, if May's mom and grandmother would have been alive, how they would have reacted. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
I'm cracking.
I thought the scene was so cute between May and Florence.
Yeah.
When she went into to order those things.
Yeah.
Like Florence was so cute.
That was really cute.
I know, like her like getting all excited about the walk was so adorable.
Yeah.
Like of course Florence would have a walk that's stuck in the back collecting dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved seeing Nathan so protective of her. I loved seeing Elizabeth get protective over Anna.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's one of our OGs. That's one of her kids.
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, I will never allow this to happen again. You know, the fact that Nathan and Elizabeth talked to Lucas before they did this, I absolutely loved. And when Higgins was threatening Lucas, I'm like, dude, that is like your most idiotic move ever. Like you were threatening.
Because he got so caught up in himself. It's like he said, like he got so caught up in himself and getting so caught up in this idea in his head that he created for himself that, hey, you're powerful and no one can, like, as long as you have this exuberant amount of confidence in yourself, everyone's gonna think you're powerful and they're gonna, you know, like the women, they're gonna react to him the way that the women did. Sorry, you're not talking to a woman, you're talking to a man that literally has the best poker face in town. You ain't gonna touch him.
Okay,
speaking of the governor, how are you more powerful than the governor?
Speaking of poker faces, I think it's possible that he could have talked to Nathan and Elizabeth, but also, what if he did that on a bluff? Like, what if he
That's so true too.
Ooh, that is also true.
That's very true. I do feel like they actually did go and talk to Lucas because Nathan is very like by the books.
They could.
I will say this: like Elizabeth is a little bit more reckless than Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With some instances, so I feel like it was kind of Nathan's idea. Like, let's get all of our ducks in a row.
Yeah,
and make sure that there's no way for this to slip through the cracks.
Yeah, but Protective Nathan, that was my favorite. That is my favorite.
I love it. And I love the fact that they used the same music.
I know.
In the hug.
The hug to this hug.
Like, and the way that his face like dropped when he saw her face, like, and saw that she was crying. I was like,
yeah. He's like, what's wrong? What, you know, whatever. Like, he jumped in a protective mode in that moment.
I mean, he'd already had like worries about what was going on with her.
Yeah.
And then like he sees that she was crying and she was like, oh God, who knows what's going on? Because like she's been acting weird all day and like she like didn't get to have lunch with me. And she's got like all this new stuff happening. Like she was like, is it little Jack? Like I'm sure like 1,000 things like went through his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that he was like playing with her hair while he hugged her.
Oh my gosh.
And putting the chin on her head. I know.
Which is exactly what he did before, too.
Yes.
But yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm such a sucker for that. It's like the chin on top of the head. Like I'm such a sucker for that. Like that and forehead kisses are like, yeah.
Melt my heart,
You're in
Kevin.
luck. You're shorter than most everybody, so you'll probably get a lot of that.
Melt my heart, Kevin McGarry.
I know. Oh my goodness. This one's melting my heart right now. I'm not gonna lie. She is so snuggly right now.
Oh,
A big arm.
oh yeah, I
I
missed
love-
Scout this episode. We didn't get any Scout
Yeah.
I know.
or Allie. We didn't get anything of Allie either.
Yeah. But no, I
Yeah.
love okay. What do you, sorry, my voice is like trying to leave me again. What do y'all think of the Meet the Mayor thing being every week? Personally, I feel like it's going to get very old very fast. Maybe twice a month or maybe once a month or whatever.
Yeah.
But every week, I feel like it's going to be overload.
Yeah.
I do think that Lee's going to get a little overboard with some of his things because he's so excited to be mayor.
Yeah.
You can see he's so excited. He's got so many plans. And then you've got Rosemary, who also has a ton of ideas and a ton of things up her sleeve because she's got the Valley Boys and everything like that. But yeah, I definitely think that Lee's going to bite off more than he can chew, and he's going to eventually step back, and I think he's going to realize, like, okay, there's a reason why we don't do this. There's a reason why the other mayors in the past have not done this. And like take a step back and being like, maybe I don't think he would completely take away a day with the mayor because I feel like that is a good idea, allowing, especially with the town still being relatively small for the most part. I am glad that they didn't do things so exclusive and private because I do feel like in reality a mayor probably would do that. But with a small town like Hope Valley and them trying not to be so much like how all the other cities and how all the other towns are doing, I felt like it was right for Lee to be like, it's a little too private. Like I'm everyone's mayor, not just these exclusive people, especially these people who are my friends. Because we see him interacting with these people every day, especially Joseph and Minnie and like, Mike and May and like, of course, Elizabeth and Nathan and Lucas and all these other people that are involved in the town. We see them having conversations with each other all the time. So yeah, I wasn't surprised though that it started to snowball because I feel like that just happens, especially when you've got Ned and Corin in the mix.
I loved the scene at the Queen of Hearts. It was pretty short, but it was when Lee and Rosemary were talking about, Molly's comment about the office makes the man, and Rosemary says, I like my man exactly the way he is.
I know. It was so cute.
I know. That was adorable.
Yeah.
Cute.
Guys,
I think it was hilarious that
Goldie's birthday was such a perfect way to open that episode. It reminded me so much of Little Jack's birthday.
And Goldie and Jack playing together.
I know, and him giving her that little teddy bear was so cute. Of course, like them making fun of Lee with the big birthday cakes, pieces, and like like not that big of a piece, and like, oh my goodness, Lee Coulter, that's too big of a piece.
Yeah,
like it's her birthday.
Yes.
I will say I am shocked that being Rosemary that it was just them and not a whole big production for her first birthday.
Yeah,
that is true too. But at the same time, I do feel like Rosemary is starting to humble herself a little bit and not be so grand with it.
Yeah,
because let's be honest, this whole little private dinner soiree that she was trying to plan with at first about with the whole thing with was actually pretty like. She would have already had like tablecloth settings and everything like that, like a dress code typed up. So I will say this, I feel like with motherhood, Rosemary is kind of starting to mellow out a little bit.
Yeah. And before I get to my comment on the scene with them in town talking about the soiree, I was a little bummed that Henry wasn't at the birthday.
I know, it's so true. Yeah.
The godfather. Yeah.
Marvin might not have been able to do it. He might have not been able to be on set that day.
Yeah, I mean he was in the episode for that one scene.
Yeah, but like how they do, scenes.
Yeah. But when they're in town and Rosemary is talking about the dinner party and his attire and, her enthusiasm. And she walks away, she's like, think nothing more of it. I'll put together some ideas. And Leah's like, you're serious, Rosie?
I love that he thought she was full on joking, and that laugh that erupted out of him, I was cackling at him, laughing at her, thinking that she was joking. I'm like, when has Rosemary Coulter ever joked about fashion?
I feel sorry for Bill though. Like while we're on the Coulters, I feel sorry for Bill because he was excited thinking he was about to get to see Goldie. When
I thought that was so cute. They called her the prettiest girl in town.
Oh, like that is some of the happiest you've ever seen, Bill Avery.
Yeah. Right?
Because he's always got this grumpy face going on. And like I love
that Little Jack and Goldie are what makes Bill light up.
Yeah, me too.
Like he is such a grumpy ghost, you would think that he would be like distaste towards children, that he would be grumpy with children, but he's really not. He's always been so like fun with all of the kids throughout like his time in Hope Valley. Like he was like that with Anna and Opal and the rest of the kids, and then like of course now
Robert.
Robert and Cody, like he was really great with them.
Yeah.
So it was really good. I love seeing him I want to see more scenes with him and Little Jack because he is Little Jack's godfather.
Yeah. I remember that scene with Robert and Bill. I think it was in season 4. It was one, I think, when Robert told the lie about the bear and Robert was gonna like run away.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually watched that not too long ago, but yeah, I remember that.
Like, what you gonna do? You have any money? Where are you gonna go? That was a good scene with Robert or Jack and Jaden.
We didn't really get to see a lot of Bill, but I love that Rosemary knocking on the window with the Parks being
Bill.
Like, Bill.
Yeah.
And everything, like, and I just love that he automatically was just like, oh great, what is she gonna do now?
Yeah,
and starts moving everything out of the way because he knows she's gonna be like sliding in with everything, just have it all over the table.
And we find out in that scene. Sorry, go ahead, Morgan.
I love that he's really accepting Rosemary's help.
Yeah.
He's not pushing her away or like whatever. And I like that he's like encouraging her, but at the same time being rational about it and being like, let's wait, check on this, make sure it's right, that we have all the information so that way he's not able to question it or shut it down. We're able to give him everything that he needs to know to be able to convince him, hey, Montague is some way, somehow in this.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that scene, we find out that 5 years ago, Pike lost his job at a mine near Yarrow Hills. I think I pronounced that right. And was unemployed for a period of time. Then he picked up 4 months' work on a construction project near Troutvale from the employer Union City Holdings. Montague.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that we get to see Pike's mother
next week or this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that.
Yeah.
She's like, lady reporter invited me, said she's gonna clear my son's name or prove his innocence or whatever. And Rosemary just saying there like, Lee's like, meet the lady reporter.
I don't remember her name, but I'm excited to see her as Pike's mom. She's been in a lot of Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
That actor.
No. I know I think this is probably gonna be one of the best storylines. I mean, it already has been one of the best storylines of like who shot Lucas.
Yeah, literally.
But I love that it's not all about. I love that that's not the only storyline we're obviously seeing with Lucas.
Yeah, literally. Like at the end of the season, I think someone said this on Sarah and Julie's live last night, or maybe they said it, or maybe Catherine said it. I can't remember who, but I know it was mentioned. Like at the end of the season, when you put all the scenes about the investigation together, it could be a mini Hallmark Movies and Mysteries movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah. And I love that we
that we're
actually
getting
have
that.
Chris having a mystery show coming out.
Yes,
So
Yeah.
this is so great.
exactly. Yeah. I've loved seeing the I don't know I know I keep repeating myself, but I don't know a better way to word it. The dynamic of watching the two of them fight for their town, which is what we saw so much of from Jack and Elizabeth
Yeah.
early on, and I feel like we're getting back to the roots of the show by doing
Yes.
that, and it makes me so freaking happy.
Nathan and Elizabeth.
Because honestly,
I'm
like
guessing.
they could have
Mhm.
had that
Yeah.
even without having Nathan and Elizabeth together. Like, let's say at the end of the day, they had Lucas and Elizabeth be together,
Mhm.
and they would have went to the wedding, and like that's what it would have been. I feel like they still could have done some form of that because I mean, Elizabeth is so intelligent. She's so understanding of things. She sees things. She notices things that a lot of people don't notice about people, especially in her children that she's obviously in school with all the day, all day long.
Mhm.
And then of course with Nathan being the kind of Mountie that he is, he's so much like Jack with being so intuitive and so
Mhm.
knowledgeable and like having that investigator side of him that's like always looking, always observing. So I mean, I feel like I mean, it would have been like just a waste if they never would have put these two together as like that duo for the town. Period.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I have been loving, Gravy a lot. I've
Bravery.
been loving,
Yeah.
Bravery, a lot. But I'm excited to see
Yeah.
more of these two coming together and like helping each other.
Yeah.
Whenever Higgins got in his car, drove away, and she was just like standing there on the side, and then she kind of looks up and she
I love
sees
the
him
look
and like
between
that
them.
proud look on his face just like melted me. I was like,
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I just have to read her speech, well, not really speech, but what she told Higgins as he was leaving because it is so good. It is so well written.
Oh yeah.
She says, "You thought because you were powerful, you could take advantage of me and all those other women, but really, it's because you're weak. I swear on everything I hold dear, you will never have the power to abuse another woman again. You better hurry. Wouldn't want to miss your train. Bye bye,
yeah.
Higgins.
I loved it because
Hope Valley won't miss you."
like he wanted to use his power
Mhm.
to be such a ladies' man, but she is so right that is weakness because I'm sorry, you have a man here that is so bad at getting a woman that he has to use his position to get one. Like that is complete weakness.
I mean, and like, first of all, we were wrong. I think we thought that the actor who previously played Higgins was a different actor. It is the same actor because it's not. I could have sworn it's the same actor because they did flashback.
No, last night it was Jason McKinnon who played Higgins in season 4. I guess he wasn't available. So the actor that replaced him for season 11, his name is James Cott, I believe. And they went back and they fixed it in the flashback.
That's what I was about to ask. Did they reshoot that scene?
They reshot the
like
scene.
I could have sworn it was a different actor, but then I saw the flashback in the episode. And I was like, well, maybe I was wrong because I mean it's been a long time since I've seen that season.
Yeah, it was a different actor.
But I will say this, like he was really good at kind of like
he did
kind of got
job.
me where I was even starting to kind of question like at first, like at the very very beginning, I was like, because like he was a very convincing actor because like everyone was, I was like, oh, every word he was saying, especially whenever he started talking about how Toby needed to be in like in remedial classes, I was like, ooh, and also my thing is this, like the fact that they made it out to be that Lucas was the one that broke off the engagement with Elizabeth. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
So he read somewhere that the governor was the one that broke up with her.
I don't think he necessarily did. I think he was trying to use that against Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to use it as manipulation and just twist it around.
Yeah. But I'm glad that she didn't I'm glad that she didn't correct him. And was like, oh no, I'm just gonna struggle with him. Which it wasn't needed in that because she probably saw right through that and saw that he was trying to bait her.
Yeah, James did a great job in that role.
Yeah.
I love
and
the
also
fact
like you could tell at the end whenever she saw him with Anna, and like she goes to Anna. Anna could see it all over her that she was worried about something, like something wasn't right, because you could just see the way that Anna was looking at her, especially when she was on her way to leave, like how she was like, okay, something's going on with her.
Well, and the fact that she turned back around and told Elizabeth, "Thank you for always being there for me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What confuses me is, where was Anna in season 4 with Higgins? Because wouldn't she have known?
I don't think that they really let the kids know. I think she probably remembers that Elizabeth was semi sort of fired, but they didn't. I don't think they ever told the kids.
No. Yeah,
why.
I didn't mean that. I just
yeah. So she probably didn't understand why. She probably never even knew that it was Higgins.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Bill. Like I thought Bill would have gotten alarmed when Rosemary said the words.
I thought he. Yeah,
I thought that he would like red flags, because he was present during that time.
Yes, and he was like not in like.
He's like, the only comment he made was the fact that he was so chummy with Lucas, and that made him have red flags. But the fact that he was Higgins didn't send him red flags.
He had some conversations, Bill, that is, with the railroad guy, Ray Wyatt, about Elizabeth being fired.
Yeah.
I mean, I even remember him saying, "I told you firing Elizabeth Thatcher was not going to be a popular decision," or something like that.
Okay, the fact that Higgins was threatening to change the name of the school.
I was so ready to just like raise my hand to that phone and choke him. I was like, "Oh, don't you dare!
Don't you dare mess with the Jack Thornton school!"
Oh, exactly.
Don't you dare!
Sorry, just had like something come through my phone, and I just checked it. Just a quick little interruption here. Apparently, our little Jack is about to get a baby sister in real life.
So exciting!
So
I saw that.
Yeah. So Highland, our little Jack.
Congratulations.
That's so cute. Family.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think this whole storyline with Higgins was very well done. I loved that they brought in another storyline like this. I feel like we're getting back to meatier storylines that actually have depth and some meaning to them. And we have said it 1,000 times. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for redeeming this show for us.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We were watching it before, but you have definitely taken it back to the show that we know and love. And I don't know, to just watch what she's done with this show. And okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's supposed to be next episode that what people said was a wedding arch that Nathan and Elizabeth are standing under when they're talking about Tom, and she's like, I think he still feels like he's living in Jack's shadow. And he's basically like, I get how that feels. And she's like, I don't see you as being in anybody's shadow.
That's correcting the Jack line right there.
It is, but do you think that is going to be where we get the conversation about what she said to him of seeing Jack and him? Or do you think that will be a later conversation to come up after that?
I do think it's going to be later.
It could be there, but I do think no matter like what location, I do think it's going to be in episode 7 or 8.
Yeah. I think it's going to be after.
I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think they're going to stretch that out. I think they're going to have them have that conversation either in that same episode or at least the next episode. I'm kind of wondering whether or not it's actually going to have the full blown. I don't see them having the full blown conversation right there. Because of where the location is and the fact that he's like in his Mountie uniform, like he's in the surge. She's got a basket in her hand, so clearly she's probably on her way to school. So there's going to be something that's going to be like, or what, that's going to kind of not necessarily interrupt it, but kind of like keep it at a minimum.
Yeah.
And not go into full blown like conversation.
Yeah.
But I am excited. I'm glad that it's like and I'm glad that it's Tom that's finally bringing back Jack into their conversation.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that, guys, this will be little Jack's first time ever meeting Tom.
On screen.
Insane to me. Because, like, he's like, who are you? And, like, Elizabeth literally has to tell him, like, this is your Uncle Tommy. This is your dad's brother, which is crazy to me.
Which is interesting because wouldn't he have met his
Well, he wasn't at the christening. He was not at the christening.
No,
He was
no,
in a recent.
I meant like off screen.
I mean, I guess, but at the same
Not
time,
that we've
like,
ever heard.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, even he was even like shocked that Faith was still working in Hope Valley and that she was a doctor now.
That's
Which I think
true.
there's
Yeah.
gonna be. I think there's gonna be a really good scene between those two because they do have a
Mm-hmm.
connection. They do have
Yeah.
so much history, so
Yeah.
that'd be really great to see.
And
But no, I can't. I hope that we do get some sweet scenes of
Yeah.
Tom with little Jack.
Me too,
Maybe telling
yeah.
stories of
And-
how they grew up.
going back to the school scene with Nathan and Elizabeth, because I wanted to bring up something. The one when she's like, basically
Yeah, they're
opening up
y'all.
about everything.
His face listening to her, I just loved like how he was just so concentrated on her, and like he had that
The
face of like,
compassion. Yeah.
yeah.
But my comment was, I love how he says he doesn't, have power. And then that's what he wants you to think, Elizabeth. Don't let him. You know how strong you are. I've never known you to run from a challenge. And the run from a challenge comment, that's a callback to the very first scene, one of the very first scenes in the very first episode when Elizabeth is like, I'm a Thatcher. We don't run from a challenge.
We don't run from a challenge. Mm-hmm.
I love that so much. And I love that he like, and of course, like I'm sure Nathan has probably dealt with men like this within his time of being a Mountie. So he probably saw straight through Higgins' form. He's like, this is exactly what, and this is exactly what men like him do. They try, like she even said, like whenever she was sitting on the couch with Rosemary, we got another call back to the, I'm glad you could see my light on.
Yeah.
So I love that we still are seeing that being like a actual habit, and it wasn't just that one conversation. But I love that she even talked about how that's what he does. He makes you question everything. He makes you question yourself on whether or not that actually happened or whether you were just inside your head making something up. And that really is how guys that prey on women do. They narcissistic, controlling men. That's what they do. They attack your mind. They attack, your emotions. They try and make you say, like, that's one of the biggest things that people like to talk about women. They talk about how we're so emotionally driven, and how we make things up, and we escalate things that don't need to be escalated, and just like all of this kind of stuff like that. So I love that Nathan saw that, and he showed her. He's like, hey, this is what he does. This is what men like him do. Don't question yourself.
That he's kind of telling her, hey, he's not above the law. That's what he wants you to think.
Yeah.
That he's making her stop, take a step back.
Right. Nobody is, no one is above the law.
I also love the second scene with Nathan and Elizabeth in the school when she's in the white shirt and she gets Higgins, that is, to confess. And then Nathan comes out of the door and he's like, what is this? Or something. And then, that was after Elizabeth says, because I wasn't nice, you tried to get me fired. My place is certainly not at the dinner table with you. And then Nathan comes out, Higgins says, what is this? What is this? And Nathan was like, you just confessed to abusive office in front of a Mountie. If I were you, I would choose my next words carefully. Like, and then Elizabeth is like, by all means, use them. Like, use your power. Yes.
Yeah, I also loved Lucas in the office with Higgins was so good.
He's
so
like,
good.
get
Because
out
he
of my
had like the perfect poker face. He made Higgins really believe that he was listening to him and that he was really gonna do something about Nathan and Elizabeth. And then he just like leans back and he's like, well, they already came and talked to me.
Yeah.
I believe Elizabeth, and I believe all the women that
which is so
you.
crazy because he just had in his mind that Lucas, there wasn't anything any longer between him and Elizabeth, and that he wasn't going to use his personal relationship with Elizabeth to automatically believe her side. I don't know what was going through Higgins' mind because, I'm sorry, me, I wouldn't be going to the ex-fiance about the other ex-fiance. I don't care if they are governor, mayor, or president or whatever. You're not going to personally attack someone like this.
Well, again, he's coming at it from the angle of that Elizabeth broke up with Lucas, so he's thinking that Lucas will be jealous and side with him.
Yeah.
I have no idea where Higgins got that impression, but
I love how Lucas is like, I believe Elizabeth, and I believe all the women who accused you
in past.
And then, you know, Higgins threatens him, and, you know, Lucas looks at Edwin and is like,
didn't he just threaten an official officer?
Yeah. And then, you know,
I'll add that to the rest of I'll make sure Nathan Grant adds that to the rest of your criteria.
Infractions, now get out of my office. It's just like,
Chris McNally really does good, but like his like stoic, like serious face is so good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm actually kind of shocked that Edwin also went along with it, but I guess he saw it from the presidential stance of like, we can't have someone like this supporting you because it will badly reflect on you, maybe.
Exactly.
But like, you know, whenever they introduced each other, whenever Edwin was there and everything, he kind of talked highly of Higgins, and I was like, oh no.
I do like that Edwin stood with Lucas. I don't think Edwin is a bad guy. I think he's an opportunist.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I still have a bad feeling about Edwin. I'm trying not to completely cut him loose.
I don't think he shot Lucas.
I don't
because
I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence with Edwin, only because of certain comments. Like I see where he is definitely an opportunist, and he's going to do whatever he can to get the best opportunity and get the best way of being, like, obviously helping Lucas to better everything while also not being too much.
Yeah, I guess
I can't really find the right words, but I think he sees that Lucas needs to I feel like sometimes he kind of gets tired of the whole small town stuff, and he wants Lucas to look at the bigger things.
Yeah.
And stop looking at these small towns that probably in Edmund's mind is not going to amount to much. Kind of thing.
I know what you mean. I guess one reason why I don't think Lucas is the shooter is because Elizabeth Stewart said that we haven't seen the shooter yet. So I don't think
Edwin's. Honestly, I never thought that he would. At most, I could see him being like maybe the getaway driver, but like even that's stretching it. So I do think that I do think that Edwin's gonna, as time is going by, is starting to see like, okay, I might as well, like, I can't beat him, might as well join it. But I'm trying to think of some other times. I wish we would have been able to see more of Anna in the classroom.
Me too,
like actually getting to see her teach, kind of like what we got to see with whenever Julie came to town and said wow, she wanted to be a teacher. So it would have been nice that that would have happened, which I do feel like there was a little bit of a callback to when Julie came to help be a teacher because of the whole art conversation. Whenever Higgins started the school, when like she was putting out the art project, and he kind of made a snide comment about it. She's like, you know, what is life without art? I feel like that was a little bit of a throwback to when Julie was in this classroom.
Also, of course we need to talk about the last scene on the porch, but we also have not talked about the walk and talk before school with the flirty panther.
So cute.
Yeah. I loved him talking to little Jack too. We have said this from the start. He had way more scenes and way more connection with little Jack than Lucas ever. So watching him, little Jack,
hand, like him offering to carry her books, and then the hand touch. Those looks were fire.
I love how he jokingly says, "I stretched." So
yeah. I love the fact that she's like, "I could take them back. Like, if it's heavy for you, I can take them." Which is again hilarious considering season 1 with Jack helping her carry those crates of books into the saloon. And then of course we had the scene in, I guess, season 8 in the library with the hand touch with the book, whatever.
That was really cute.
Yeah, Aaron's little sneak peek Saturday of Nathan leaning Kevin with his arms all stretched out by the library where the plaque is.
Fire.
Yes.
I'm still looking for that plaque to come back some way somehow.
Oh yeah,
That
absolutely.
scene was really cute. I also loved when he says, "Everybody knows that you're the best."
Yeah. Yes. Aaron's so freaking cute.
I do think that Elizabeth battle with the school board is not done though. I feel like she's still gonna come like in future. Maybe this might be it for the season, but I feel like eventually she might. But then again, I don't know. I'm really not seeing if I don't think the merger is going to stay.
It's not gonna. It's not
because I don't see the story happening.
Yeah.
So I will say
work
this, like at least if anything, at least that kind of came out of the whole situation. Like it wasn't a complete like, oh, because like I've been hearing people make comments saying like, oh, if they don't do the resort or they don't do the merging of the town, then it's just been such a waste of a storyline. No, because we're getting a lot of things and a lot of storylines and a lot of fixing through this whole situation. Like, I'm sorry, I've always seen Lee as being the one that should have been mayor. That was fixed. The school board situation with Higgins, that was fixed.
That was.
I mean, there were so many. There's been so many things through the possible operation of the resorts that has fixed so many things that were ruined in past seasons. So I mean, it's not a complete bust if we don't. If most likely not going to have a resort in the merger town.
The failure of the resort and merger, I think it's going to, like, not that I want Lucas to fail, because I don't want him to fail as governor, but I think it's going to, like the failure of that is going to give him growth.
Yeah, I think it's gonna not that Lucas necessarily needs to be humbled. I think it's just going to change his perspective on how to grow the town, but grow it in the way that's actually going to be beneficial for the entire town and not just, trying to bring money and revenue to the town. Like it's more, it needs to be so much more than just that. Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest thing about the resort right now is every time we talk about the resort, every time we have any scenes of Lucas talking about the resort, it's all revolving around donors and the money to pay for the. We haven't really gotten to see any other possible benefactors of the resort. And Maisie has a lot of points. And that's one of the reasons why we don't feel like the resort's going to happen is because her points, in our opinion, outweighs any other points that Lucas might have to think that it's going to actually be beneficial to the town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. But I feel like we have like
sorry.
That's okay. Am I the only one? Sorry, my brain is blanking on me so bad. But I will jump back to this and then we need to move forward because I've already been going about an hour, if not for an hour. But the scene where Higgins came into the schoolroom and Elizabeth was like, don't you think these things are a little, basically a little much, I can't remember the word she used. And he's like, I wrote it.
Yeah.
The slight oops look on her face, but immediate recovery.
Yeah.
I did love that. But is there anything else we need to discuss before we move on to that last scene?
Let's see. I don't think so. I think
I think
the only other thing I wanted to say, we kind of briefly mentioned it, but the scene with not Lee and Rosemary, Elizabeth and Rosemary. I just love their friendship. It's the best. And I just love Rosemary's support.
Rosemary really wasn't there for all of that. I think she was there when it happened, but she didn't really know. Like Abigail was the one that went with her. Abigail was the one that was there who stood by her and really helped fight for her, which I really wish that they would have said something about that. I hate that they've pretty much erased Abigail from the show, pretty much. It would be that would be like one of the biggest things I would love if Lindsay was able to fix was having her come. I'm glad that we did get what we got last season with Henry going to see her and like, of course, talking about the hazelnut trees and everything like that, and that being kind of something that brings a little bit of Abigail back to the show. But yeah, you go back and you don't realize just how many people weren't around for that specific part of the storyline. It was just Abigail. Abigail was the one that went
Abigail
with her.
and Jack.
Abigail was the one that went and helped her go and find all of these women, contact all these women to try and get their voices to come and join Elizabeth to make a louder voice.
Yeah, and Jack was there some.
Yeah, Jack, I mean, to the best of his ability as well, because he had other things going on that he had
Yeah,
to
Doug, Northern Territories.
exactly.
Gang, he was taken to trial.
Exactly. So, I mean, to the best of his abilities, he was able to be there. That's why I loved that Nathan was able to be there for her and help her with everything.
I have a question before we move on to the last scene. I just remembered it. Now, if Jack were there, like if Jack were in Hope Valley, like if he were still alive and he were there, how do you think he would react to Thomas Higgins coming back?
Oh, he would have slugged him the minute he walked in Elizabeth's schoolroom. Like,
I think so too. Yeah.
Just march,
Get
just
out.
turn around and march your little self
He
out.
probably would have automatically started doing like making calls, trying to get this dude arrested for something.
Yeah.
Anything. Just so he could put him in that cell and lock him away.
I know Jack wasn't there as much as he should have been, but I mean, he had a lot going on. Yeah. But I do love how, like, in that one scene in the cafe in season 4, you know, when Elizabeth tells him and Abigail about it, kind of. And, you know, she mentions that he made advances and Abigail leaves and Jack says he's worried about her. I did think that was really sweet. Like, he offered to go with her.
Yeah, and I loved that. And I think I love the way that they did it in season 4, because I love that it was about women joining together and doing this without having to have a man to help or have and being able to make an effective. I mean, because even though it wasn't completely affected, because obviously he was still able to, you know, move up and be like superintendent and everything, but the fact that they were able to do something to an extent was really great. And I love that they didn't have to have like a Mountie or anyone else kind of involved. I love that in season 4, but I'm really glad that we were able to just put a complete shut off of it. And like, okay, that's it. He's never going to be able to do anything else.
Well, I mean, it's been a little while since we've seen Elizabeth in trouble.
Yeah, so exactly.
To see that protective side of Nathan come out of you don't mess with my girl.
Yeah.
And just letting her know, here for you no matter what, you know.
And if you look at the big picture of it as well, Nathan was also worried about the school itself too, because you could even see whenever Lucas started talking about how they were going to now be a part of the school board,
about school district.
About being officially a part of the school district. You can kind of see him looking at Elizabeth and trying to see, okay, is she worried about this? Because like obviously he knows, like I know nothing about the full school aspect. She's a teacher, so she knows the full school aspect, and this does affect his child, but it also affects her. And so like he's got more than one. Yeah, he has more than one reason to be worried about how that merger and how her being completely almost at the mercy of the school district. And then whenever she turns around and looks at him, kind of smiles, he like smiles back at her. And like, of course, a lot of it's because he's proud of her, like taking a chance on something that at the end of the day was about bettering the kids. But then whenever he started talking about like remedial classes and she started wondering about the standardized testing and how some of the students probably weren't going to do very well with that, because not every child learns the same way. Which I love that they brought that up. And so I love that he was majorly trying to do it like he doing what he was doing for Elizabeth, but I think in the back of his mind he was also thinking of course, you know, Allie, Angela, Cooper, all the other kids, Anna too, because like, you know, she would be working in that atmosphere and at the mercy of Higgins as well. They didn't do anything. So I know that the majority of it was about Elizabeth and protecting Elizabeth and standing and helping Elizabeth, but I also think that in the back of his mind he was also thinking about the kids. So
Yeah.
I
I
would
agree.
like to see. I would like to see Nathan doing stuff with the kids too, because Jack did.
Yeah.
He's also
Same.
really involved with the kids, especially
I
like
feel like
cooking.
we'll see it in
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah, because guys, we officially have a season 12.
Yes. Yeah, but we do need to get to that last scene
Yes.
because we have not talked about that.
Yeah. Okay, is it season 8 that was a throwback to of him saying there's no place I'd rather be?
It was the
Yes.
season 7 Christmas movie
Yes.
Season 7 Christmas movie. Okay, yeah. I
when
couldn't
they
remember
were
which.
looking for trees, Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
That's been my favorite Christmas movie. I
Yeah,
wanted
it's
to
a
bring
good
those
one.
back. That's another thing Lindsay needs to fix. Like bring back the
know.
Christmas movie.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I love that we're getting 12 episodes instead of 10. So
Well, that's
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
I do love that aspect of it. But I love the fact that she makes a point to like say thank you for being there for me. Like I was honestly kind of expecting I'll always be there for you, out of him, but
Yeah.
but then when she said thank you for being here with me, whatever. And for him
There's
to say there's
nowhere
I'd rather
nowhere
be.
else I'd rather be.
Yeah. And then
And-
the head and shoulders.
Yeah, and then
Did anyone else think that he was going to kiss her forehead?
I thought it was
I wanted it.
I didn't expect him to. I felt like it was a little too early, but at the same time, I would not have been like it would have been a great opportunity to, but I didn't.
Yeah.
That or at least maybe laying his head on top of hers, but he didn't even do that, which that was fine. Like I think even just her laying her head on his shoulder was good, like a good start. But yeah, I was expecting him to at least like either kiss her on the forehead or like lay his head kind of softly against hers or something like that.
I'm waiting for them to hold hands. Like at what
Yeah.
point is one of them just going to reach over for the other one's hand? And what's going to cause it?
I feel like
it's gonna be
coming soon.
Nathan.
I
I feel
like
like it's gonna be
soon.
Nathan. And I feel like it's gonna
And-
be in a comforting moment. Kind of like, I just
And also, I love when he says you should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. And then the shoulder bump.
I love the shoulder bump. The shoulder bump was so cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I love that he wasn't in his surge. I'm glad he was in his civvies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one thing. And we all love Jack so much. We would not trade those years with Jack Thornton.
No.
Jack Thornton will always have a very dear place in our hearts.
Yeah.
So Daniel listing himself, but
Yeah.
I love that Nathan is more of a family man. Jack
Yeah.
is never gonna be the family man that Nathan is. Jack was married to the Mounties first and foremost. That was always gonna be his life. And for Nathan, that is secondary in his life. And
I do think if Dan had stayed, we might have seen him change a little bit.
Yeah,
But,
I do kind of wonder
we'll
if
never
it would have changed a little bit. Like I think because maybe as Jack would have grown up, he would have saw so much of himself in Jack and how that time with his dad was and how he felt back in that time whenever his dad was constantly leaving, constantly putting the Mounties before him.
But
But
I agree.
honestly,
That
Jack
Nathan.
never really talked about his dad negatively when it came to him leaving and like always choosing the Mounties over him. So
No.
at the same time, you kind of wonder if you ever did see it negatively.
well, I mean, the fact that he went on a prestigious post that he could have turned down instead of going on his freaking honeymoon.
Right.
He always put the Mounties first. And again, I know that's how the story needed to go because Daniel was leaving the show, all that. There's no anger there. I'm just saying that that was Jack's love. That was Jack's great love.
Well, the reason why they did it, I feel like that's the reason why they did it. They knew that Jack was that kind of guy, and that would have been the perfect way to send him off. Like if you were going to send Jack Thornton off and make him die, it was going to be because of him.
I mean, they talked about it. They discussed him coming to Elizabeth and saying, Mountie duties come first. I'm breaking up with you. Before he even proposed, and then either I think there was an option of him proposing and then never coming back, or having him die.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, why couldn't he have died some other way or something like that? And we would have been able to actually see his body, is actually get that closure and stuff.
But
and I was kind of like, well, the thing about it is like Jack's always talked about wanting to go out in a blaze of glory. Like,
what's the expression? I was never going to die in bed. Like that, Jack Thornton. He was never going to die in bed.
I remember Lori.
It would be something. Like I know this would probably never ever happen, but it would be so cool if we got like a what if episode of like maybe Elizabeth wakes up, maybe she's having a dream or something like that, and like Jack's downstairs cooking in the kitchen, little Jack's at the table, and like
that would be sweet,
or something like that. Just kind of looking at what. I know that would never happen. I'm just saying, like it would be like just to kind of give it something of like how that would have looked if he would have stayed.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember saying, not me. Sorry. I remember Lori saying on the Facebook Live after season 5, the only way Jack would ever leave Elizabeth was in death.
Oh,
as heart-wrenching as that is.
Yeah. Before we wrap this up, Nicole, if you want to take a few minutes, if there are any interviews that you have it from, or
there have been, but I didn't write anything down.
Okay.
But I do remember in the after show interview with Lindsay Sturman and Dana, I can't remember her last name, the one that wrote the episode last night, the one that co-wrote with Lindsay. I do, I think it was them. I'm trying to remember. You know what? I can't even remember what they said, but they were just talking about Nathan and Elizabeth's love story. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or their story this season. So go check it out, Hardee's, if you haven't. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't even I don't even know what they said. I'm just going off of what was said in the live last night with Sarah and Julie.
All right. I got you. Okay, so next week is when Tom comes into town, right?
This week.
Yes, for Jack's birthday.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see that. I always forget that Rosemary grew up with the Thorntons. So
I forgot that too.
When I saw that sneak peek and saw her be like, Tom, whatever, and just like so excited to see him. I'm like, I always forget they grew up together.
Yeah.
So to see that reunion and just to see how does this unfold, I think it's going to be so sweet. I think we are probably going to get some things with Tom and Jack.
I also question, well, I don't know if it's really a question, but I find it interesting. Yes, we just had Goldie's birthday, but I find it interesting that we are getting Nathan's birthday, celebrating Nathan's birthday, and celebrating Jack's birthday in the same season.
Yeah. When they've never made a point of either one.
Yeah, they never, like, they're not, like, they're more big on, like, weddings and engagements. They've never been big on birthdays. So I love that they're doing birthdays.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, I have one more question. When do y'all think, because we still haven't seen it, when do y'all think the Nathan and Jack scene is going to be that Derek Thompson mentioned? Where they, like, talk about their relationship with Elizabeth. Yeah, with little Jack. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know about this, so I'm terrible about watching. So yeah,
let me go back to my notes. Okay, let me go back to my notes real quick.
We need the tea here. We need the tea.
Okay, I can't remember what episode.
I know. I kind of pick up like the synopsis though, because like all that kind of matters into how you think that it's gonna like.
Okay, here it is. I found it. Okay. So this was after episode 3. No, it was after episode 2, but Teresa and I talked about it in our episode 3 review, I think. No, episode 2 review. I can't remember. I think it was episode 3 maybe. But when asked about like they brought up the birthday card that Jack made Nathan and whether or not that will come back up. And Derek said, no, the card won't really come back up. But he did say Nathan and little Jack will have a really interesting moment where they both come to terms in relation to where they are with Elizabeth. This might be one of Derek's favorite moments in the season. And then he says they're both potentially becoming family, and that's big shoes for Nathan to step into.
Aw, I love that.
Potentially becoming a family. I think they are becoming a family.
Right? Yeah. Well, we already know they're going to eventually become a family, no matter when it is.
I think that
But-
was just like trying to keep it spoiler free.
Yeah.
Not spoil
But
anything.
that is so cute. I don't think that maybe episode 9.
I know, that's what I was kind of thinking. I'm trying to remember the synopsis for it because like I don't see it being in the last. It could be in the last 3 because we all know that like the last 3 episodes of the season are always like the most like powerhouse of the season.
Well, and
But-
I'm not even thinking about the synopsis of the episode. I'm just thinking timing in my mind of they haven't technically started dating yet or whatever. So give them a couple of episodes for that, and then a couple of episodes before the finale.
Episode 9 says Rosemary's newspaper article creates waves when she questions Lucas's judgment. Allie discusses her birth father with Nathan, and Elizabeth realizes little Jack is growing up.
That's gonna be
So that could be
right.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, could be episode 9.
Maybe that's gonna be such a cute scene.
Oh yeah, and I think we're getting the horse ride this week because the shirt that she has on is the same one in the press photo when Ned is looking at her and Joseph in the church.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
The season is finally heating up. We're finally getting some really good intentional scenes between the two of them, and they've just been so like. I love the pace of it. I love that we are getting some really good scenes with them that are hearty and like, you know, good meaty like scenes, but they're also like light and just like so good.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. All right, is there anything else we want to say about this episode or next episode coming up?
I think we've pretty much covered it from
I'm
everything
really
we know
excited
so
about
far.
Tom. I can't wait to see what Tom does. I not just with like Elizabeth and Nathan's story, but also like seeing him interact with other people in the town because like, you know, Faith for instance, and
I will say
flyer stuff.
I will say one more
Yeah,
one
I'm
more
really
thing.
interested to see.
I'm excited to see how Elizabeth introduces Nathan to Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of
Oh,
wanted to say something like,
Yeah.
"This is my Nathan" or something.
Yeah.
Nah, that's not gonna. Yeah, she's gonna be very.
It's not
professional
gonna
with
happen.
Tom.
But I agree. I think it would be really sweet.
It would be really sweet, but
I think Tom is going to give Elizabeth kind of his blessing for her to move on.
I've always thought that.
I
For him to
kinda
kind
wonder
of
if he
seems like a really good guy Jack would approve. You know, Jack of Black.
honestly, like I could be wrong, but I feel like it would be kind of cool if Tom just went on his own to the mounting station and kind of looked around, like reminiscing about, like this is where he was, like he was his office, his mounting station. This is where he was every day, all the time. You know, this is pretty much who like changed him from this rough, gruff Mountie, all about being a Mountie, and kind of softened his heart and everything. And kind of like, I don't know, I feel like he maybe goes into the Mountie station kind of reminiscing about Jack, and like he sees Nathan sitting at his desk. And like that's kind of how they meet. And it could be kind of like a little bit of a parallel to how him and Elizabeth first met. Because Elizabeth just goes straight to the Mountie station. So it'd be kind of a cute little callback to that. Yeah. And like, and he like being like, Nathan kind of looking at him like, hi. And like of course Tom just being like, hi, I'm Tom, I'm Jack's brother. And seeing Nathan's face just get like socked. Because like you know he's gonna get hit with guilt all over again. And it's gonna like struck some of those feelings of like, okay, I didn't just take a wife and child, like I didn't just take someone from them, I also took from them. And plus,
Yeah.
like, he also knows
Even though
what it's
he
like
didn't,
to
but
grieve
yeah.
as a sibling. Well, I mean, he
Mhm.
also knows how to grieve, like how it feels to grieve over losing a sibling because he lost Colleen. So
Exactly.
that would be kind of interesting
Mhm.
for them to have. Like, it'd be kind of cool if they bonded over that.
Yeah, and it is interesting how episode 8 is titled My Brother's Keeper. So like Jack and Tom are brothers by blood. Nathan
Yeah.
and Jack are brothers in
In arms.
the Force.
In
Yeah.
arms. Yeah. That's so true.
And Allie and Jack
Oh, is
will
this
be
when
brothers.
we're, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Also, is this when we're going to meet Jacob? Is
Okay.
Jacob going to come?
I think Jacob is in episode 8, I think.
Because that
Brother,
would have been like the
sister
first
is-
time for him.
Yeah.
That
Brother,
would've been,
sister
like,
is
the
what I
first time.
meant for Allie.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Not brother. Brother, sister.
But well, I know that would have been a perfect thing for them to bring Jacob in at that time because of the title and everything.
This is true.
That's when he'll come in.
But maybe we'll get like a major turnaround with that story. Maybe we'll get a deeper part of that storyline. Maybe in the
We
next
could. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so
All
much
right, I
for
think
joining.
that just about wraps it up.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining us again. And we cannot wait to continue to recap this season with y'all. If y'all can't tell, we're loving it. Don't forget to
Way
drop
to
your
go,
thoughts
Lindsay.
on it
And the
below.
cast and crew.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we will see y'all again next week. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.